It starts. All right. 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros. But this is a crossover episode with the one and only the Brooke Ashley is joining us, and joined as always by the one and only Shooter Magooter. What's up, everybody?
Hey guys, I'm so excited to join y'all today. I have so many thoughts on this latest episode of OC, so I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, we're pumped to have you on here. Obviously, it's always great to have a little collab, and your thinking's always pretty much in line with our thinking. So
Yes.
it usually runs pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it. And before we do, I want to give a quick shout out. If you guys are not aware, Brooke has started her own podcast. She's moved from not only on YouTube, but now she is doing a podcast as well. So make sure you go and give her a listen, give her a subscribe, all of those good things. She's incredible. She's one of our favorites by far. We love having you on. So go listen to her and us. Listen to all of us. We're all a team here. So go subscribe to her podcast immediately. Get those numbies up. And Brooke, how is it going thus far? How's the podcast life treating you?
It's going well. At first I was like nervous and overwhelmed, but so far so good. The numbers are climbing up. Everybody's loving it, and I'm just excited. So I'm just, I'm trying to get like y'all. So you guys are my inspiration. So I'm
No.
here.
No,
Do not give us that credit. Yeah.
We're idiots. We're just lucky to be here.
And that'll go right to my head anyway.
Yeah. I already have to knock him down a peg like every week. So yeah, don't blow up his ego any more than it needs to be. But we're thrilled to have you here, and we are talking OC today. And before we jump into the episode, I want to get just general thoughts. We're 2 episodes in. I want to start with Brooke and then Shoots. I want to hear what you got to say. But what's the thoughts and feelings? How's the season started out so far, Brooke?
So far, I think that they're a 10 out of 10. OC's always been one of my favorite franchises. I've always thought that they were wildly underrated. So I feel like this was definitely one of their best premiere episodes. That fight with Alexis and Shannon at the end of episode 1 was just phenomenal. Then you have this new drama stirring up with Gina and Jenn that I can't wait to get into. But yeah, I'm loving this season so far, and I cannot wait to see how it goes throughout the remainder of the season.
Shoots, what you thinking?
Yeah, I feel like it's actually entertaining, which is more than what we got last year. Last season was not that entertaining. This season, it feels like there's a lot of different dynamics that we have to dig into. There's a lot of fun fights, obviously. I mean, we're talking about somebody not making their rent, so I feel bad calling that fun, but it's different. It's a little different because typically on Housewives shows, we're talking about Heather and her extravagant mansion and all these things going on. And now we've got the other side of that coin, which is the drama between Gina and Jenn, talking about their career versus Jenn trying to make ends meet and figure out what she's going to do for housing. So it's a lot different. It's a little unique, and it's keeping us on our toes, which is really all we can ask for at a Housewife show at this point in time, because a lot of the other franchises are falling apart.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to touch on. Before we get to that, I do want to echo Shooter, because I don't know, did you like last season, Brooke?
I thought it was okay, but I just hated the way they ganged up on Heather. I thought that was like a Heather takedown. Heather's one of my faves, so I'm biased, and it's like there will be no Heather Dubrow slander tolerated whatsoever. So I hated watching my girl be ganged up on by everybody. So it was hard to watch.
That's fair. We hated it, like top to bottom. We hated the season.
Boring.
And it was so funny because our audience loved that we hated it. So like they were some of our best like episodes that we did all year because we were just hate watching it. So that being said, we went into this season. We try to clean the slate when we go into a new season. We don't hold grudges most of the time, except with Jersey, but that's the fan base's fault. But with this, they came in hot. Like the first 2 episodes were great. You're getting a lot out of Gina. I would argue a little too much in episode 2, and I will talk about that shortly. But it is a much more dynamic season than we got all last year, honestly, in my opinion. So I'm excited for the rest of it. And we're about to jump into the full recap. But let's discuss the state of Housewives just real quick across the board. Jersey, we got Potomac. There's a lot of messes out here. So what's your professional opinion about the state of Housewives as a whole right now?
I think the majority of the franchises could use a revamp, like how they did New York. I think that I honestly, and I was listening to one of my another favorite creator that I watch, and she made a great point that honestly, it should be like Housewives should be swapped out every 6 seasons. I think that after 6 seasons, we do get the full story, like their stories come full circle. And after a certain point, it's like you have nothing else to give us at a certain point. And I think that that would keep the franchises just flowing and not so stale. To keep people on for 9 or 10 or 11 seasons, it's too much. I just think that across the board, they need to just start fresh, give us some new faces. I think that we would actually be entertained versus still keeping the same people. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to echo that a little bit just because I feel like there's too much comfort level for a lot of these women that are on these shows for so long. They know that they're too big to fail. They're not going to get fired. Bravo's not going to drop them. I mean, we saw that with Kyle this year. We see it with Dorit every year. We talk about Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is one of the biggest shows of that, where it's just people on forever and they've run through their story and they're not giving us any more. So there has to be more of a threat. There has to be a little bit more danger when it comes to that. Like you have to bring it up. Like you really have to make sure that you're going to bring it every season. You can't just coast through a season because we're watching you because we want to be entertained. If you're not entertaining us, then what do we need you for? So there has to be something going on there. And I feel like they've just kind of drug these women along and along and along for season after season when we're just tired of them. So that's one of the many problems that these shows face. And obviously we can get into the forced toxicity, the forced drama, the things that come on from behind the scenes. The producers are pushing narratives. There's so many different things that we can go into, but they've got a big problem on their hands right now. So I'm happy with where OC is right now, at least 2 episodes in, because at least it's fun-ish and there's more going on. And obviously we're going to look forward to Miami coming back, Salt Lake coming back to see what's going on there. So there are still a few franchises that are incredible that we're really excited to get back into. But there's a lot that are just clunking along right now, and those are the bigger ones.
So term limits for Housewives is what we're implementing here. Okay. Yep. Is there a loophole? Like if someone's performing, do we want to kick them off the show? Is that when we send them to Legacy or like a girls trip? Shooter's Fave?
Fucking girls trips.
I'm just curious, like if there's any, because I don't know. I mean, I guess the Miami cast, it's hard to say because they got put on pause for a while. So you can't really, that's different because they had their breather. Mm-hmm. So I agree. I think that's an easy one to implement. 6 years max. And then it's time to and it doesn't mean they have to go away entirely, but maybe just shift to a different show. Or I agree. I think we're all onto something here. Nice job, everybody. But without further ado, let's jump into OC this week. And I want to start out with, we're in like the aftermath of the fight between Alexis and Shannon. And Alexis is talking to Heather and brings up the lawsuit and all of this other shit. But she says 2 times in a row, she goes, it's difficult to me to see his ex. It's difficult for me to see his ex. Is Shannon really stuck on the John Jansen of it all? Or is Alexis trying to force this down our throat?
Alexis is trying to force this down our throat. I think that Alexis definitely came in with an agenda to get this Bravo check again because she's been off the show for almost a decade. And you can just see the thirst and desperation seeping from her pores. She's trying to force an issue because Shannon makes it clear that she's pissed about being out of $300,000. She could care less about the man. Yeah, she is a bit hurt about John, but she really cares more about the money. And I think that Alexis just wants to drive it home like, oh, I took your man. You could never. Like, she just wants to rub that in her face. And it's not about that.
No, it's not about that at all. But Steele and I talked about this last week. And I, for one, think it would be really funny if Alexis the entire season just keeps talking about that. Because eventually the rest of the women are going to be like, all right, enough. Like, we don't. But I want to see her crash and burn if that's her only real plan. So keep going with that if that's what you want to do. You can act like you want to be friends, but you can't say remarks in the background talking about how you took her man. And obviously, I mean, look, I mean, it's a party in a housewife universe. Of course, there's going to be drama that like one girl's over here just screaming about something else. I thought that Shannon was taking the high road during that entire conversation. She had one issue that she kept bringing up. She was not talking about John Jansen, Johnny J, as we like to call him over here. What did we call him last week, Steele?
Stop. Oh, damn it. We did come up with a better one. I forget what it is.
I don't know, but I don't. Look, I mean, she wasn't talking about any of that. I was really happy with the way that Shannon was portraying herself, the way that she was handling herself. And she extended that even more by going back into the party, looking over, saying, hey, tone it down a little bit. You're talking about my life, my ex, my relationship, your relationship. Why are you talking about that so loud in this room full of women? Like, yeah, 6 of them know what's going on. The other 25 to 30 of them in there are like, what the hell's going on? Like, yeah, there's cameras. We know it's Housewives, but stop. Enough. And of course, Alexis is going to have an issue with that. So she is, I mean, look, she's performing in her own way. She had a plan to come in this way, but it's not hitting well with the audience for sure.
No, and why would that be appropriate? You know, if you are going to go into a room with the ex of your current boyfriend, how on earth is that the move to continue to talk about it to other people loudly to call attention to it? And I feel like Tamra, because you know, Tamra's always calculated, she's always trying to manipulate and make moves. The only reason she's Team Alexis is because she has, for whatever reason, decided to take down Shannon this season, or attempt to take down Shannon this season. But I agree with both of you. I think that what we're seeing out of Shannon, as far as her reactions to things, might I say that we've seen growth? Like it's actual, she's mellow. Like she's taking it in stride. She's not clapping back. Like she's focused. She's keeping the main thing. She's not getting derailed by the bullshit.
The Jalen Hurts rhetoric. No, but I think there's a theme, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when it comes to Gina and Jenn. There's a theme going on here where somebody does something like Alexis agreed to come back to this show. She was chomping at the bit to come back to this show. You're not going to get any sympathy from me because you're in the same room as your boyfriend's ex. You chose to do that. What do you want from me? You knew what you were doing.
And he's not a prize. Like Johnny J. Like, what are we talking about here? No. This guy's he's a dickhead. Like, I will not understand for the life of me why she's parading it around like she's dating Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Alexis is someone, I feel like she's a pick-me at her big age. I said this in my last recap. I feel like she's acting like this is the first guy who's ever liked her. This is her first boyfriend, and she's just so excited for like male attention, like she's a teenager. And it's like, you're a grown woman still carrying on like you're in middle school or high school. You need to grow up. Like the constant, like, that's my man. And like she kept doing it when they started having the lunch or the dunch, as Heather called it. But like she was still saying, oh, here's my promise ring. I don't want to jump ahead. But all of her, it was just so obnoxious. Like she just can't help herself. She just wants to rub it in Shannon's face that she has this man that nobody wants. And I'm like, John is a dud. He was leeching off of Shannon for years when they were together. She was paying for all the dates, and you're bragging about that? So, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of feel like, her bragging about the Van Cleef ring that he bought her. I mean, sure, he should be able to afford it. He was leeching off of Shannon for all those years. So he saved up money to leech off of Shannon to buy you a ring. So congratulations to you, Alexis. I'm so glad that you have this washed up man as a prize that you think is a prize.
Well, there's also terrific. She also just brought up a very huge point during that, because the first time that we're talking to Alexis, she brings up how John just kind of like popped up in my booth one night. It was like fortuitous, and it was just exactly how this is going to work. And in that next scene where she's sitting at the dunch, she goes, well, we could only put it off for so long. It was going to happen eventually. Like, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Because it was a month after Shannon and John were done? You guys were dating already? So is there overlap there that we're not privy to, that you're going to drop because you're an idiot and you're not going to realize that you're telling us that?
I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on real quick.
I don't think you need a tinfoil hat for this. I think this is pretty true.
They met and they're like, look, John was like, look, I'm getting out of the spotlight. Alexis, you want to come back in with a bang? Why don't we bang? That's the move. And I'm going to get you a promise.
He doesn't want to get out of the spotlight.
He doesn't want to get out of the spotlight.
Oh, he
That's
loves
what I'm
the
saying.
Spotlight.
That was my point.
I thought you said I want to get out. Oh, I am.
No, I'm getting out because I'm not with Shannon anymore. You need a storyline. Why don't we hook up? I'm going to buy you a stupid promised ring, which is, by the way, it was right there. And Katie hammered it home, but it was such a layup. So you got a promise ring with the D. Like, that's what you're getting right now. Like, that was such an easy one. So I was a little upset it took a confessional to get that one out. But that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry. If you're like, it's not a promise ring, it's a promised ring. Okay, what's the difference? And I'm glad. I like Katie so far. I think she calls things out. I like how she moves and operates. She seems mellow, which this group desperately needs somebody that's like middle of the road. Mm-hmm. I'm curious when she gets into it. It looks like it's going to be her versus Heather.
Yeah, Brooke's not going to be happy about that one.
I'm not.
Oh, what's your thoughts on the newbie?
I mean, she seems cool. Personality wise, yeah, she's chill, but she's not really giving me like a lot. Like, I don't know, I'm kind of bored already. And
That's
it's no
fine.
shade. I guess maybe because I already know that she's going to get into it with Heather Dubrow. So I'm already just like, I'm just
You're
turned
jaded.
off. I'm already
That
dated,
makes
so I'm
sense.
already judging her. Like, sorry.
I appreciate that. It's all good. But we do need to discuss this Jenn versus Gina stuff. And it comes out at this party in the aftermath of everything. And Gina feels hurt that she's getting bit in the ass by Jenn for not paying her rent and getting evicted and all of that. Now, Jenn, I guess, posted on Instagram. I didn't know that. Like, she's posting that I got evicted, which is a weird move.
I don't think that she posted that she got evicted. She just said she was moving out.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. That makes her story even harder for me because she's acting as though Jenn getting evicted was a personal attack on her. I don't understand that. Like, for her to, and we're going to jump around a little bit throughout this, but for her to blame Jenn and the eviction for not getting a call back from another agent, I thought, is that how it works? Like, you didn't get a call back because they heard that one of your tenants got evicted? Like, that doesn't
No.
make any sense to me.
Well, no, I
right?
will say though, this is what I was talking about when it comes to Shannon and Alexis. The same thing is going on here. Gina, how long has Gina known Jenn? You're going to vouch for her with your brand new career that you really care about. We know you care about your career. You won't stop talking about it. You really care about this real estate career. So you're going to vouch for somebody like Jenn that you know nothing about. The only thing that you know about is that maybe she cheated on her husband with Ryan, who she's now with. Not really a good character judgment there. And you're going to vouch for her and not do a credit check and just put her
The
into
no
a nice
credit
house.
check is
No
wild.
credit check is fucking insane. And you're going to go put her in a new house early in your career when this could backfire on you. So no, it's not a personal affront. Jenn has her own shit going on, but Gina taking it as a, well, you're going to do this to me. You need to understand what you're doing. Well, Gina, you vouch for her. Sorry. But you know what? Maybe you shouldn't have risked that this early on in your career if this is what you're going to do. You're kind of dumb. I love that she's calling Jenn stupid. That's a really stupid ass move, Gina.
I agree. But like, for me and their interaction and how she's taking what Jen's quote unquote doing to her, one, like I said, the no credit check is bananas.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's doing more damage to her own career by talking about all of this.
Yeah.
I agree. So let me just preface this by saying I cannot stand Gina.
Okay.
And I have never liked her, did not like her when she got on the show. I was like, why is she here? And we're going to touch on this more in that last scene. But Gina has the audacity to talk about this woman like a dog, I might add, about her finances when Gina has been broke since she stepped on this show. She's been broke since the beginning. So she's the wrong person to try to dog somebody else about their finances. Now, I agree with Shooter about that was dumb of her to put her neck on the line without really knowing Jenn. And I understand her being upset because she just started her real estate career. So I will give her 1 point for that. But for her to act as if Jenn planned to have money problems is beyond me. Nobody wants to have money issues. Like,
Hell
what
no.
are we talking about here? That's stressful. It's not fun. So for her to act as if Jenn did this on purpose to screw her over, it's delusional. And I honestly feel like Gina is just getting pleasure out of the fact that she's no longer the broke one on this cast. So now she wants to punch down on Jenn. So be like, oh my gosh, guys, remember, it's not me. I'm not broke anymore. Like, I actually have something. I have 2 nickels to rub together now. She doesn't. Let's focus on her being the broke one because it's not me anymore. Even though she's just 2 Zara blouses from where Jenn was, but she's
That's
still
good.
not out of the woods yet. But she just wants everybody to focus on Jenn being broke and not her.
But you would think that she would rally behind it instead and be like, hey, I think I'm owed an apology for you getting evicted out of the house that I got for you, but I know where you've been. Like, are you okay? Like, are your kids okay? The fact that she's taking the approach of you need to take care of your children. I'm like, damn. Like, that's rule number 1 around here in Brav Bros world is leave the kids out of it. We don't go after children. Steve, like, I couldn't believe that she kept echoing that at the end of the episode. And we'll save that for the end because before we get there, I do want to talk about the money booth, which was not money, but fortunes. What was
It was just questions.
Questions, right. So Alexis is, well, I don't know why I said fortunes.
I don't Steele's imagining like some whatchamacallit, some fortunes just floating around in there from like a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. And then everyone grabs their fortune.
Can I
go ahead.
May I just add one thing about that money booth? Heather has the money, and it would have been fun if she just put some real money in there. I don't understand why that was so hard. I would have done that if I were her. And I did not like the side comments from everybody. You have Emily saying, oh, yeah, Jenn needs to step in there, pay her car note, and maybe pay her rent. And then you have even, and now Heather, I love Heather down, but I didn't appreciate Heather making that joke either. I thought that was kind of nasty, since Heather prides herself on being so classy and so nice, because she even made a comment saying, well, I don't even know if the money booth would help her because it's not going to pay her rent. And I'm like, Heather, $24,000 is a drop in the bucket. You could help her out and put some money in there. I just don't like how they're all punching down on her like that. And especially when you have Gina on the cast. Like, I'm sorry.
No, it's a fair point. And I'm confused, honestly, why that's taken. I don't know if something happened in the offseason where they're all mad at her, or if it's still like a Ryan residual thing because they just hate Ryan so much. I'm not entirely sure what their obsession is with her being broke. It's sad. She has kids. She doesn't have she's homeless. Like, she's homeless. She's moving in with Ryan, who doesn't do anything because he is aiding and abetting massive gambling schemes internationally. Like, that's who you have just moved in with your children. That's the point of life that she's at. She's moving in with an international bookie, he's not even a bookie. He's a middleman. But like, that sucks. And everyone's like, broke ass. Like, that sucks for you.
You know what?
Like,
it's to make themselves feel a lot better, because this is not the richest cast that we've ever seen in a Housewife show. There are a lot of money problems floating around this group. So I think they're just all making themselves feel better by making these jokes. I don't know why Heather is. Heather's got this beautiful mansion that she's got all the money. She's renovating it for like $5.8 million and doing all this stuff over here. You might want to stay out of it, Heather. All right. What are you going to semantics police on me? 5.8 wasn't enough for you?
No, because if it wasn't an absurd amount, we got it for 16 and we're putting 15 million into it, then I wouldn't. But 5 million compared to 50. No, that's a substantial amount of money. That's not a response.
It is. Yeah.
It's not.
Well, whatever.
Really.
Well, whatever. I don't think you needed to stop me in the middle of my point to do that.
I didn't. Your point was made.
I don't even know what my point was anymore because you interrupted me.
That probably wasn't a good one then. Wasn't? Wow. Well, anyway, Alexis wants to act like a Christian, and she wants to move forward with Shannon, which was the biggest load of bullshit I think I've heard in Housewives in a long time. That wasn't genuine at all. You just had it out with her out there, and you came in and talked relentlessly about the fact that you're now banging her man and that you're with John Jansen. So no, you don't want to move on amicably and want to have a good relationship with everybody in the group. You are figuring out your way to stay relevant. How do I become a mainstay on this show? You're not doing a good job. It's entertaining because it's so silly that this is what you're focused on, but that is going to wear thin quickly. And like Shooter said earlier, I'm looking forward to when everybody else is like, all right, you're talking about John Jansen. We've all known him for a long time. The fact that she came in hot last week defending him to Emily because Emily was on a podcast talking shit about him. Emily's known the guy for a while now and have seen like how he moves and operates. She has more of an opinion about John Jansen than you do because you just met him 2 months ago, even though you are apparently about to be betrothed to the man, which sounds like a terrible idea, but whatever. I digress.
Promise.
But I promised. Yeah. But Tamra gets in and she wants less friends talking shit behind her back, which, the irony is palpable. It's insane to me. And then people want to go on Twitter or X and be like, you guys hate Tamra. It's like, no, we just call out all of the hypocrisy because it's wild to me that she could even say that. Like, you talk more shit than anybody and you do it on a podcast with Teddy. Like, that's all you do. And then you see the tweets where she reels it back and goes, that's not what I said. It's like, that's literally what you said. So if this is how she's going to operate this season again, I'm going to get flustered in a hurry. But what's your take on Tamra that's so far with that kind of stuff?
My take on Tamra, I don't like Tamra. I've always held a grudge ever since she did that to Gretchen, her and Vicky, that naked wasted when Gretchen came on and joined the show, season 4, that got her drunk. She tried to get her to sleep with her son, Ryan.
That was gross.
Yeah, that was so gross. So I've always just felt that Tamra is not somebody who really wants to make friends. I think that she's all about the show. And she's just not capable of being a true friend to anybody. The way she turns on people, she turns on everybody. Because think about how she loved Heather when Heather first came on the show. And then quickly she got tired of Heather. And it was like, oh, well, you think that you're better than us and you're too fancy and we're tired of it. So she's a pattern of doing this. So I'm just like, it's going to be more of the same with Tamra. I'm not looking forward to it. And I hope that somebody calls her out on her BS. I mean, I'm not hopeful about it, but I'm prayerful that somebody will say something to her because I'm tired.
Yeah, no, I think that somebody's probably going to say something to her at some point, but it seems like there's other things going on this season. So she might take a back seat, which is pretty unfortunate unless she really ruffles some feathers here or there. But there's not really anybody in this group that I can see actually going toe to toe with her. Maybe Shannon. I mean, this new Shannon might be able to go after her. My favorite thing is whenever we get those comments on Twitter, a lot of the comments are like, no. She has been very open on her podcast, as if we're going to listen to her podcast. Like,
no shot.
I'm talking about what she does on the show and what I've seen her do on Twitter by herself. I am not listening to her fucking podcast ever.
No, absolutely not. But we quickly go to a scene with Shannon and Tamra out in the hallway. And Shannon's question is legitimate. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you making jokes about John Jansen? I will say it was kind of funny that if you want to move forward amicably, you need to stop banging his ex. It was mean. It was kind of funny.
But
and I don't like to give it was a little funny. I don't like giving her credit, but that was kind of funny. But it's a fair question from Shannon to be like, what's your agenda? Why are you doing this? And this is what Tamra does. She flips it and goes, you've been a terrible friend. You're a horrible person. And just reads her for filth right there. And it's like, look, you go to your confessional and say, I want to care for Shannon and this and that, but, she lied and blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you really cared about her and you were concerned about her journey with sobriety and life after the DUI, you wouldn't be berating her like that right out of the gate. We're on episode 2 and you just called her a horrible person. And the Shannon that we've seen in 2 episodes, and look, it's a long season and she's got a lot to make up for, a lot of amends. She needs to get on track with her sobriety stuff. And, that me personally being sober, like I have a lot to say on that. And I want her to be successful with it. I don't want her to lie about it. And I'm not going to sit here and vouch for it because I don't know. And I'm hoping to get more out of it throughout this season. But I do know if that's somebody close to me, even if I'm on a show and the job is to cause up some shit, I'm not going after that. That's just so low. And for you to sit there, she's trying to get to a place where she's not feeling horrible about herself post DUI and trying to feel confident and trying to move forward and figure out how to do that the right way. And one person close to her is going to, 1, take Alexis's side right out of the gate just because you want to start some shit. And then 2, question her character, question her morals and everything that she's going through right now. That's a terrible person. You, Tamra, are a terrible person and friend, not Shannon. And by the way, everything Shannon calls out about you is correct. So it's not even fair for you to point the finger at her and be like, you're the problem. It's like, no, once again, and as always, and forever, you, Tamra, are the fucking problem. But that's just my take on it.
Good take, Steele.
Thanks, dude.
Great take.
But we keep on trucking, and we got Shannon, Jenn, and Katie, and we're doing some stairs. And this, I felt bad because they're talking about Johnny J. And she's like, every time we did stairs, he'd just be like, I'm going to sit this one out. And like, yeah, well, he's been really smiling in his pictures. And she's like, oh, that's just because he got new teeth. And I'm like, oh, who's going to tell her? Who's going to let her know? Because that's a tough look. But they keep talking, and we get to find out more about Katie and obviously her husband. They're both golf reporters. I've seen him before, Shooter. Reporting. Like as soon as he popped up, Matt, as soon as he popped up, I was like, oh yeah, I've definitely seen that guy on the Golf Channel or something. But the focus of this is Shannon and Heather, because last year we saw, and I can't believe we got to call back to the vault already. I was so tired of hearing about this stupid fucking vault that Heather apparently, it's in the vault. It's in the vault. It's like, yeah, but you keep drawing attention to it. You don't say what it is, but you keep saying you set it up so that people speculate, and then you go, I can't talk about it because it's in the vault.
Yeah,
So
but the vault's definitely open.
Yes.
The vault is
It's
open. It's
wide
not
open.
closed. It's not locked or anything. It's there. It's in the
Yeah.
vault, but the door's open.
Yeah, anybody can go in, but it's in the vault.
Yeah.
But I guess my whole thing with these two being able to move forward, yeah, Shannon was a disaster last year, and that's pretty apparent. But will Heather be able to give her some grace and also understand, like, yeah, you weren't openly saying it, but you were alluding to things and leaving the door open for other people to talk about it? Okay, we'll keep going. All good.
No, I think that, I think that's a good point. I didn't think that we needed to follow up on that. I thought you were making a good point.
You said it all.
I just always want to leave. I always want to make sure we have time to respond if
You
needed.
just have like
but
the upward inflection at the end of the sentence. Thoughts?
question mark? Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns regarding that? No? Okay. We'll keep going then. But while this is all going on, Jenn is talking about that she needs to sit down with Gina. Now, do you think that Jenn should know that Gina's owed a sit down, or do you think that she should be, because she seems confused why Gina has any issue with her at all? Like, should she at least be like, hey, I'm sorry?
So I think that Gina should have received a phone call, something like, because at the end of the day, while I cannot stand Gina, and I do think that Gina is in the wrong with how she's handling this, I would like to think that I'm fair enough to admit that Gina was definitely owed a call. Like, I know that you put your name out on the line for me. You're new to your real estate career. I don't want to come in between that. I'm not trying to mess anything up. But this, X, Y, and Z happened. I didn't think that this would happen. My ex-husband, he's supposed to pay the rent. He didn't. We're in this boat. So yes, I do think that Gina is owed something. Now, the way she's going about it is a completely different story, but I wasn't mad when Jenn pulled her to the side and said, hey, Gina, let's sit down and meet up because I do want to explain to you, what's going on. Now, I noticed that when Jenn was trying to say, oh, hey, let's set a date to meet up so we can talk about this, Gina was not receptive at all. It was almost this entitlement of like, well, yeah, you should be coming up to me like, well, like, okay, like, and like, she wasn't about it. And I'm like, okay, I understand you're upset, but you don't have to be an asshole about it. You don't have to be rude about it. I'm sure that she feels bad enough. The same way that you felt for the last 6 seasons broke. Remember when Shannon was helping you with stuff? She helped pay for your lawyer for your DUI to keep you out of jail. When they went to Rodeo Drive, she couldn't afford to buy anything. Shannon bought her a few pieces. So I'm like, have that same grace for somebody else going through what you just went through. And I hate how Gina's being so nasty about it. Like, okay, you can be annoyed, but don't treat this girl like she's nothing just because she's having a hard time.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And look, we can point out both sides of it. Jenn being completely ignorant to how Gina stuck her neck out for her is a little wild. Like, do you not understand how life works? Do you not understand? Like, I get that you don't want to talk about it because you're going through financial struggles. That's fair. Okay. But this is somebody who put their neck out for you to get a house. So yes, you should be communicating with her and at least letting her know where you stand. But Gina's side heavily outweighs that. I can look over the ignorance because it's maybe Jenn just didn't understand what was going on, or maybe she was just completely turned off by how much animosity Gina had towards her and she wasn't giving her any grace. So yeah, maybe I don't want to explain myself. Maybe I don't want to apologize to you. Okay, that's fine. I don't understand where Gina's coming from. Gina she has no perspective. For all the reasons that Brooke just laid out for us. Gina has been in Jenn's position for season after season after season. She's still in there, by the way.
Thank you.
Because she's
That's
talking
why
to
her and
Travis
Travis
about getting into a new house. And we see scenes from next week where Travis looks over and goes, stop acting like you're doing this for the kids. You just want a bigger house. I probably agree with that, honestly. I'm going to need a little more context, but I do agree with that. So I don't understand where Gina's coming from, putting Jenn down like that. And just, you know what? This is Housewives 101. You're going to have some sort of issue with somebody else, and you're going to plan a lunch date. You're going to plan a little sit down where you guys talk it out. So don't act like you're like blindsided by it. And also don't sit at this party and say, this isn't the time or place to talk about that. I don't want to talk to Jenn about this. And then go and talk to Emily and Heather and everybody else and let people make jokes about how she doesn't have enough money to do this. That's not how that works.
One quick point, just to piggyback off of that. when her and Emily, and I think was it Katie in the conversation at Heather's lunch when they were talking
Yes.
about Jenn, and they were like, "Oh yeah, because I saw on Instagram she said that she was moving or whatever have you." And I think Gina Gina said something like she needs to like get off her ass and get a job and stop depending on her ex-husband and Ryan. And she says that several times throughout this episode. And I really feel like a big reason for her anger is jealousy. I think that she's angry that she's in a position where she's supporting her man, because Travis, we don't know what he does. Travis looks broke. So I think that there's jealousy. No, but think about it. He moved into her home. He didn't have a home for her and her kids to move in. He had to move into her townhouse.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite. And I think that she's resentful of the fact that she doesn't have a man to support her, give her some money. She has to be the breadwinner and do it all on her own. So she's resentful of the fact that Jenn actually can ask somebody for help, and she can't. She has to do it all because she keeps saying it. And I'm like, Gina, the jealousy it's slipping out because you keep referencing Ryan and her ex-husband. And you're mad because you can't call anybody. You're the only person who can help yourself out in this situation.
Yeah.
It's a really good point. It's a great point. And I need to ask both of you because I am not a realtor. Okay.
Either way.
I brought it up earlier. Would this debacle with Jenn getting evicted, would that lead to an agent not returning Gina's calls? Is it fair for her to say, I had this cash deal lined up, she cost me 50 grand? I'm like, I don't think she cost you 50 grand. It sounds like the deal fell through, which happens all the time, especially in this economy, in this market. To get the hell out of here. You can't point your finger at Jenn and be like, you getting evicted because I didn't do my due diligence and run a credit check on somebody I haven't known very long, by the way. And also, we're in Housewives world. Of course, I'm running credit checks on everybody. I don't believe them. I would assume that most of them are in debt. So, of course, I'm running a credit check because I'm not trusting you. That's her fault. And again, I feel like she is digging her own grave in her career by saying this stuff out loud. It's like, if I'm looking for an agent, well, I might go to her because you're not going to check my credit. But if you do, I'm like, whoa. I want the Jenn deal. Why did you didn't check her credit?
Well, that's the other thing. It's not like we're getting any proof that Jenn requested to not have a credit check run, because that would come out right away. If that was the case, Gina would say that immediately. I did her a favor. She came to me asking to not do a credit check so that I could get her into this house. I don't think that happened. I think Gina's just a shitty real estate agent. Let's be honest. And the funny thing is, and that's what I was talking about with the perspective angle from Gina, she has no perspective. She's blaming Jenn for not getting a deal done. Okay, those two are not connected. It's not like, hold on, let's paint it this way. It's not like this new investor or whoever this new deal was supposed to be with ran a credit check through Gina to see how her tenants are doing, if that's even the right word. You're not the landlord. You were the facilitator that got her into that house. Yes, you kind of put yourself on the line. Your word is there, but you're not collecting the rent from her every time. Yeah, you were CC'd on the emails. I would venture out to say that you probably just did a terrible job on that next deal and they don't trust you. So they moved on to a different real estate agent. You don't look that good at your job, to be honest.
No, she does not.
She could argue. No. She could spin it and be like, I can get people anywhere. I'll get you. You don't have credit. I'll get you in a nice house. I don't give a shit. You might get evicted, but that's not on me. She could take that approach, like the Saul Goodman approach from Breaking Bad. She could do that where it's like she's the sleazy realtor. It's like, I'll get you in, then I'm out, but I'll get you in the door. Like if she leaned into it instead of blaming Jenn for her problems, because that doesn't make sense to me. But we could talk about it for a while. Let's keep trucking. We find out Emily knew about it and later goes on to say that she put 2 and 2 together.
Bullshit.
And I realized, what? Like, that was so dumb. Like, no, you didn't do sleuth work and be like, I figured it out. She got evicted from that house. I put 2 and 2 together. No, Gina told you. Gina clearly told you. And that's another knock. And that's what Jenn brings up.
That's one of the twos. So the first 2 is that Gina told you. The second 2 is that you saw her moving out on Instagram before she was actually ready to let up her lease. So yes, good job. Way to go. Great detective work.
It's such a funny way. I figured it out. I got to the bottom of this whole thing. But Jenn makes a really good point. And I'm not like a Jenn sympathizer, but for her to say, honestly, like I get it as friends talking about things, but you're an agent and you are openly telling people that I'm going to talk shit about your finances to other people.
Yep.
Again, you're doing more damage than Jenn did to you. If you just said, oh shit, she got evicted, that sucks. I put my neck on the line for her. I hope we can have a conversation about this. Play it that way. And then you can play like, as you said, Brooke, you've been in this spot before. So now why don't you be the shoulder to cry on? Now you get the sympathy vote. I think
you're already doing that with Shannon. She's already doing that with Shannon, the DUI. So why can't you do this now with Jenn?
That's a great point. And I think that it would do her a lot of favors. What I think happened, I think that for an extended period of time, people have been saying, what does Gina do? All right. Like she doesn't bring a whole lot to the show. She's not super wealthy. She doesn't seem to fit the criteria of what a housewife is.
At all.
So she's been living in the comments, I think. And she's like, I'm fucking bringing it this year. And I'm taking Jenn down with me. And this is the second year in a row that we've had Jenn in the crosshairs. We had Tamra trying to take her down last year, as she brought her on the show as a friend and then went after her. And now we got Gina going after her. And maybe it's the low hanging fruit. Maybe it's like the newbie on the show still, where it's like, I'm going to go after Jenn. I don't really know. But what do you think? Why is Gina focused on the finances? You pointed out earlier. Is it simply because I'm no longer the broke one, or is there more to this?
I think it's that jealousy with Jenn having had support from her ex-husband, her dad, and her current boyfriend. And I also feel like, I think that Gina is just very insecure. I don't like her or Emily. They both reek of insecurities, because you see in the trailer with Emily, she's still projecting her insecurities onto Heather when they're talking about something. And it's like, I don't know. I think the both of them, they just are miserable people. And if they can punch down on somebody, that's what they're going to do. So I think that with Gina, she's just unhappy and she's getting pleasure and enjoyment from talking about somebody else's finances, because she was paranoid for a long time that they were talking about her. Because remember when Bronwyn was on the show, she snapped at Bronwyn. Bronwyn had said something like, oh, well, I don't know what private school to send my kids to. And Gina just snapped at her for well, everybody's not privileged like you, and how dare you? And Bronwyn was like, well, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, what school should I send my kids to? Where do we go? How do we go from there? So I think that Gina is inherently insecure, and now her insecurities, and she wants to feel like she fits in now. That's getting the best of her, and that's why she wants to dog out Jenn, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head there. But let's keep moving. And we get to Shannon, Emily, and Gina, and they are doing some flag football practice. And we here at the Bravo Bros love athletic events on these shows because we like to see who the athletes are. It's a lot of fun for us. Now, what do we think? Who's going to come out shining in flag football out of this crew? Who's going to be the top two players, if anybody? I don't know. Emily
looked good. She could catch. Gina was throwing pretty well. I imagine Jenn's probably pretty good. She's got some Oklahoma roots. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. We like to dig deep here on the Bravo Bros. This is a good conversation to have. Yeah, no, I think any of those three. I don't think anybody else on the outside is really going to be able to.
Who's your first draft choice?
I can tell you who's definitely not good, and it's Heather. Heather is definitely not good at football.
Why?
Can you imagine it? Just picture it in your head. Just do.
What if she's like Tom Brady? She comes out there slinging that football.
Very surprised. Because I'm thinking right now, no way.
All right, your first round draft pick then out of this crew, both of you.
Emily's
going overall.
I'll take
Jenn and Emily first overall. I'm gonna go with. Katie's already admittedly not an athlete. She said she doesn't like sports, even though she's a golf journalist. But I'm going with Shannon. You know, she's focused on health right now, right? She's got a different headspace. She's coming in confident. I think that she's gonna turn some heads out there at the Housewives Combine. I think that's what we have to look forward to.
Okay.
I don't see Shannon having like good hand-eye coordination.
No, because she was drinking. I didn't either back then. she's sober now, or trying to be sober. So maybe she's a little bit better. She looks great. She's
Yeah.
coming back. Who knows? And by the way, you two, that's my pick. That's my team. You don't
You're
have to
right.
comment on my team. Okay.
That's fine. Hey, you want to pick somebody that's definitely not going to be good? That's better for my team.
Wait, you have none of us know how this is going to shake out. And if she scores the
Find out
game-winning
next week.
touchdown, I'm going to text both of you and be like, "Ha ha."
Please.
I'm going to send you a GIF of
Right. They're doing it on the beach. It's going to be like that Top Gun double football scene where nobody knows what the hell's going on. They're just kind of running around. They're going to be running to different end zones. I could see Shannon running into her own end zone and being like, "I scored, guys. Look at me." Like, no.
I know exactly what was going on in the Top Gun double football scene. All right. I was watching Miles Teller and Glenn
Nobody
Powell
does.
do their thing, and it was wonderful. Okay. That's what I saw. I don't know what you were watching.
Steele, why was your shirt off in the middle of that one? I would have enjoyed the boys.
I did. I was watching it. I put my jorts on, and I was standing in front of my TV with a football. Okay. If you must know.
Yeah.
No, I did shave back then. I shaved a mustache because people tell me I look like Miles Teller.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Shooter doesn't believe me. But I did. It was early on in the podcast days, and I shaved a mustache during the Top Gun phenomenon because I wanted to see if I looked like Miles Teller. Didn't really pull it off. I'm not a mustache guy. Shooter, that he's the mustache guy around here. You don't have to nod so like assuredly. Like you can give me some. It didn't look terrible. It could have been worse.
It looked really bad.
I'm a beard guy.
Yeah.
I'm the beard guy. Yeah, you're the mustache guy. It's okay. I know where I stand. But anyway, let's get back to Shannon, Emily, and Gina at flag football practice, and they're talking John Jansen. And Gina brings up the best point, and this is what every single woman on the cast that's been on the cast can say is that she's just trying to warn Alexis. Like, I know John, and we saw that scene 2-3 years ago when, or was it 2019, they showed the little caption there where John is going off about Gina and screaming about her.
Yeah.
21. Thank you. And so it was 2-3 years ago. That's vice versa. But they all have experience with this man. So that's where I get really annoyed by it. And I'm annoyed by everything Alexis does. I'm not tired of it yet. I think it's funny, but I'm annoyed by it because who are you to tell anybody on this cast about Johnny J? This whole crew knows Johnny J, the Jan Man. That's what we called him, Shoots.
The Jan Man.
Yeah, the Jan Man. Everybody knows this guy. Everybody watching at home knows this guy. He is a mooch. He's a piece of shit with a big wiener. That's what we all know about the guy. So yeah, that's the breakdown. So I don't know what this vendetta is that she has coming in. Is she trying to change everybody's opinion about him? Because she's simply making it worse.
I don't know what. I don't think she's trying to do that, honestly.
I don't
think she's trying to change their opinion. I think that she's just trying to flaunt it because it's a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like I took Shannon's ex-boyfriend. This is so cool for me. Look at me. I have a built-in storyline this year. And what have we learned in the past from other franchises? Whenever there's a built-in storyline there, it never works. They always underperform. You have this match made in heaven. You're coming back. You can just smirk in the corner. You can go have your dates with John. You can quietly talk about him, whatever. She's doing too much already, and this is the only focal point that she's really brought to the season. So no, I don't think she's trying to change her opinion. I think she's trying to perform, and she's not doing it.
That's fair. But I do want to talk about Shannon in this moment, because this was a genuine moment of remorse and empathy for Gina, where she's like, I didn't get it before, and I thought I did. And now, having gone through everything, I am genuinely sorry for how I treated you and responded to your DUI and everything you were going through. She's like, I'm trying my absolute best. She even admits that in between the DUI and getting to, it wasn't rehab, it was just a treatment center of some sort. But she even admits, in between that time, I did have some really bad nights. And I was like, that's massive that she can admit that to not only her friends, but to the audience as well. The honesty and openness is something major when it comes to dealing with substance abuse. So the fact that she could say that, I thought was really cool. The fact that Gina could hear it, Gina accepted it and was like, look, I'm not holding any grudges. This is so ironic based on how she's talking about Jenn. But she's like, I'm not holding any grudges. I know what you're going through, and you just keep working, and it's great, and you're honest. Finally, it was a really touching scene, and it just goes back to the point that you've been making, Brooke, where it's like, how do you have that foresight here with Shannon, but then also with Gina? Because Gina, she's like, I know what you're going through, and you just keep working, and it's great, and you're honest. Finally, it was a really touching scene, and it just goes back to the point that you've been making, Brooke, where it's like, how do you have that foresight here with Shannon, who you wanted to kill last year because she kept bringing up Child Protective Services and the fact that she paid for your lawyer. You should have more bad blood there. And you were so quick to move on from it because she went through something that you went through as well. Where's that for Jenn? I don't know what Gina's trying to do. I think that she is just trying to be relevant this year.
I wasn't so touched by that scene with.
Oh,
no, I didn't look at it that way. I thought that Gina was still like making digs in the confessional. Maybe I looked differently. Yeah, right. I didn't look at it as Gina was like so forgiving or accepting. Because in her confessional, she kept saying, well, I'm not going to like I'm not going to like harp and like bring it, hit her over the head with it. And I'm not going to be like eye for an eye. But, that's nice that she understands where I'm coming from. But there's a smugness with Gina. I think she likes the fact that Shannon is groveling and begging for her forgiveness because they have had a rocky history. When they had that group hug, I think that Gina is going to tolerate Shannon, but I don't look at it as now they're going to be great friends and Gina is so understanding, because the shade that Gina kept throwing in her confessional let me know that she has not forgiven Shannon.
So Gina played me, is what you're saying. I've been played.
So.
Yeah.
I've been had.
Look, but I also, I mean, from the Gina perspective, sure. I never trust her anyway, because that's her MO anyway. She's going to act like she's all cool and calm and collected and accepting your apology. And then she's going to go to her confessional and do that. Like, she never has the balls, except for later when she's talking to Jenn, but she never really has the balls to just do it out in the open right then and there. If that's not how you feel, then don't go to your confessional and say something completely different. That's insane. I want to focus on the Shannon side of it, because I think that was really touching from Shannon. I think that Shannon was actually being truthful. She is remorseful. She feels terrible. And yeah, she's in a position now where Tamara's bitching at her and like saying that you're talking behind her back. You're losing your friends left and right. So she's just trying to be a genuine, nice person, because that's what she needs right now. And she's going to focus on her family, of course. And whatever. She moved into the townhouse and it's a little too small. Again, we're seeing a theme here. Everybody's got too small of a house now. So look, I think that she's going through it, and I appreciate what she's showing. And I just wish that Gina would be accepting of that, because how many times have we seen that in the past? And I know, Steele, like with your background, if somebody says that to you, like, hey, I didn't know what you were going through, but I know now. And you're like, yeah, I'm happy that you can see that now. And let me know if you need any help. I don't know why Gina's getting all high and mighty about this. Like, just stop.
Maybe she feels like this is her season of vindication or something. I've been the broke one, as Brooke pointed out. I've been the one that they were pointing out the DUI. Now it's my turn to laugh at other people, and it's not coming off great. I'm already mad at her because she played me. I was fooled, and I feel like a fool now.
Bamboozled.
But I've been hoodwinked. But I think that it's going to be an interesting theme to watch throughout the season, because I also know that this crew's not going to ride or die for Gina. Like, if she goes too hard at the wrong person, she's going to lose a lot of friends really fast, and then she's going to be out on an island, and she's already losing Travis, of her own doing. And that's, hopefully we get to dive more into that, like the actual specifics. It's slightly confusing to me because they want a bigger house, but they couldn't afford a bigger house, so let's just split. But hopefully there's more about that later. Yeah, I'm not sure, because if he moves out, she has more space.
But listen,
sure.
But I get it. I get it. She's tired. She has this bum in her home that she moved into. They don't know where the relationship is going. They've been together for almost 5 years. He's not talking about marriage. They have 6 kids together. Well, she has 3, he has 3. They're teenagers now. They can't share a room, so they need their space. He needs to leave. We don't know what he does. And what woman is going to support a grown man financially? That whole thing is a mess, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. No, this is why we need you, because we didn't see that, and now you. Okay, obviously, there you go.
I'm here for Gina saying you have to go. Like, I'm here for it.
That's a perspective that we needed, because now I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes total sense. Get the fuck out of here, buddy. You're not contributing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now it's clear. I get it. All right. Fair enough. Let's move on to my favorite people, Tamra and Eddie, with matching jackets. And
Motorcycle
Shooter,
twins.
we need matching motorcycle jackets.
Do we have to have a motorcycle?
No, I don't ride motorcycles.
Okay, so we just show up at like cool bars, like on a highway somewhere, and get like a burger and a Reuben.
A Reuben, because that's what bikers eat.
Let me tell you, I was so hungry when I was watching this earlier
Yo,
too.
me
And
too.
I was like, I ordered breakfast this morning. I was eating some breakfast, and then like another hour or two, I was like, I'm really hungry again, but I gotta watch OC. Okay, whatever. I was staring at those mozzarella sticks. You know how much I love mozzarella sticks. I was staring at those things, like, oh my God.
When he
I
was blowing on it, I was like, just eat it, man. Just eat it
couldn't
right now.
hear a word that they said. I had to go back and like rewatch just to make sure I didn't really, and again, didn't really miss anything anyway, because I don't believe anything that Tamra ever says. Eddie said a couple of things in there, and Tamra just kind of knocked it right down. I was just staring at the food. I'm just so hungry. That's all I got from this scene.
The Reuben looked solid as well.
Yeah,
I was
no, it did.
also focused on, when they brought the Reuben, I was like, oh, I haven't had a Reuben in a long time. I had to
Right?
pause as well and write down. And I was like, oh shit, I missed the scene. I
You
missed the
wrote down
intro because of the Reuben. I did. I wrote that. I always write down when food looks good. The Reuben. It looked really good. But I did figure out what they were talking about finally. And I wrote that down too. But we get a Shannon update. I don't care that Eddie's moving to Big Bear at all. Like, fine. Bye.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But the Shannon update, she says, like, there's too much anger, and she starts like fake crying. I was like, that's not real at all. The fucking crocodile tears, save it. She starts talking about how she's lying to everybody. And here's the thing, and this is from sobriety standpoint. If you do not know the ins and outs, this conversation right here could be extremely damning, because if she is trying to be sober and she's not doing a great job, I'm not sure if she's lying to people. That's a problem as well. Not giving her an out here at all. But if she's doing her best and she's trying to be sober and she goes on stretches of a week, 2 weeks, whatever the stretch may be, lying about falling off is not a good thing. That's never okay. But at the same time, if she's on a good run and then she watches this and says, well, nobody fucking believes me anyway, so what's the point? Why am I going to keep trying if when I am doing well, Tamra's going to be out here bashing me about my sobriety regardless? So fuck it. I'm just going to keep drinking because this is what people think of me now. And that's something that hits home with me, and talking about the stigmas that go along with substance abuse. It's like, can we not fucking change? Can you not have a moment where you have the worst day of your life and make the worst decision of your life and learn from it and grow? Is it perfect? As Gina says earlier, it's not perfect, but you're doing your best. And that's all anybody can do, trying to make such a massive change in their life. And for all intents and purposes, the Shannon that I've seen this year is light years ahead of the Shannon that I've seen in the past. She's coherent. She's apologetic. She's empathetic, sympathetic. She's doing everything right from what I can see. Now, the lying, that's a different story. If that comes out, it's a different conversation. But the fact that Tamra's going to take this approach at somebody's struggle with sobriety or a post DUI, like, it's not even a low hanging fruit. It's just stupid and it's ignorant, and it's going to cause way more damage than you getting props for a storyline. And it's not going to go over well either, because I can't imagine people seeing that and going, yeah, you read her, you expose her for drinking on the side. It's like, well, what if she's not? And now she's going to, because you're an asshole. So that really, really bugged me. Like, to speculate on sobriety in general is just, it's a no-no. It's never safe.
But she's just pushing it for her own agenda. And I mean, there's got to be some people out there that believe Tamra, right? I know
they
there's
have
people out
listeners
there that really like her. There's people that really like her.
I'll give him a shout out. Ryan Stoneman. He commented. He's one of our avid listeners. We love him. We love that you're a listener and a part of our audience. He loves Tamra. And every time we talk shit about Tamra, he goes on our Twitter and goes, they're doing it again. Stuff like that.
but like, I don't get it. Dude. I just don't understand any of these people out here that believe Tamra when she's in a moment like this. Like, I don't believe you at all. You are not a good friend. The fact that, like, you pointed this out earlier, when you start talking about how you don't want your friends to talk shit behind your back, that's what you did. You literally brought Jenn on last year so that you would have a storyline so you could talk shit on her and bring her down. For what reason? Just to give yourself something to do? Like, you are not a good friend. So don't sit here and act like you're trying to be a good friend and you feel like she spurned you and she did this whole thing with the Tres Amigas. I love how last week she goes, I can't even talk to her because I just don't trust like what she's doing, and I can't do the Tres Amigas tour. This week, it's not even about the Tres Amigas tour. It's like, okay, what is it? Like, make up your mind.
Whew.
I think, well, you guys said everything. I'm in full agreement with when it comes to Tamra. I couldn't even get through the scene. I was too focused on the cheeseburger. I love cheeseburger.
Hell yeah.
Oh, there was a cheeseburger? I missed that.
Yeah, she got a cheeseburger. Yeah, we got to go back and watch it.
I was watching the Reuben too closely.
I am ordering food as soon as we're done, by the way.
Yes. But no, I full agreement with what you guys said. I have nothing else to add. I can't see Tamra.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are world-class Tamra haters.
Yes.
We'll pat ourselves on the back for that one. We
We'll
are
die
top
on that
tier.
hill
Yeah.
forever. It's just, like you said, dude, I cannot imagine watching this scene and going, she's really going through it right now.
I just don't believe her anytime.
Ever. But let's get moving to Jenn and Ryan. And Jenn, I
Is
feel
that
for
shirt, by the way. Can we talk about his shirt?
No, because
Why?
we can absolutely. It's just, is that surprising to you? This
It's
man
just so
wore
funny that we go from
he wore a bedazzled jean jacket last year.
That's true, but we go from the matching motorcycle jackets to whatever the hell Ryan was wearing. It looked like a bowling shirt crossed with like an auto body shirt. Like what is that?
That's
And
what
her
it was.
parents
That
are coming
was,
over. You're going to talk to her parents in that shirt?
he
What kind of
walked by.
self-respecting guy?
It was like one of those. I bet that shirt was like $1,000 at
Yeah.
some like boutique, and he's like, "Oh, that's fashion. FASHUN, baby. That is fashion, and I'm buying that shit. And when I do my act on TV, I'm gonna wear that shirt, and it's gonna go along with this nice guy." Like the fact that every time the camera turns on him, he's smiley, and he's like, "Oh, hey, babe." Who's buying that? Like, you clearly are faking every interaction that you have. You're trying to come off as this super nice guy, this super caring guy. We don't know what you do, sir. Your girlfriend that just moved into your house with 5 kids, teenagers, by the way, they don't know what you do. Jenn says he just lives the fun life. It's like, that's horrifying if I'm moving in with somebody.
Yeah.
Right? I'm bringing my kids. Go ahead.
Well, no, we know. Sorry to interrupt, but we know that he's into scams with this
Now
whole
we know.
$60.
Well,
we know
yeah.
with the news breaking. But here's my thing. I know you said that you think that shirt was like $1,000. Remember how Tamra outed the both of them for wearing fake clothes? They had fake designer on. So that was not $1,000.
I think that Steele absolutely nailed the inner monologue, though. I could definitely see Ryan walking around just thinking to himself. He might even talk to himself, to be honest. Give himself a little pump-up speech before he goes into a store and buys a fake shirt.
Yes.
He looks at himself in the mirror in the morning and goes, "Dude, that's it. You look great. You're going to kill it today, and everybody likes you. Everybody likes you. Keep those demons down." No, people do like you. They don't know that you're full of shit. Let's go get them.
Totally.
I have a question for you guys. In the first episode, when they had dinner and she's crying about the eviction and what she's going to do, and when she said, "Because you've helped me a lot," and I said, "Well, if he's helped you, then how are you behind on the rent, $24,000? Because if he had the money that you claim that he has, he would have written you the check to catch you up. You wouldn't have to move in with him." So I'm like, he's broke because you wouldn't have to move in. He would say, "Babe, let me write you the check."
That Otani money hasn't come through yet. He's still waiting. It's in a foreign bank account. He's waiting for that offshores account to hit because Otani's translator is now in prison because Shohei didn't have anything to do with it. He didn't have anything to do with it, even though his teammate made the same exact bets for the same exact amount, but it was the translator and Ryan. Otani had nothing to do with it because baseball could not handle that scandal because he's the best player since Babe Ruth. That's a different podcast for a different day. But it's such a good point because, if they were dating and he's not going to put up the money, that's one thing. If you are willing to allow her and her 5 kids to move into your house, that means that this has gone far enough and you're deep into this relationship enough to say, "Hey, I'm going to help you out. Here's rent for X amount of months to get your shit together. We'll figure something out."
Maybe that was his plan all along. I know that you're behind on the rent. I'm going to put you in a position where now I have leverage to let you move in with me because it makes me look like a better guy.
No.
That's grimy.
Yeah.
Makes you look like a better guy is giving me the check so I can pay the
Well, Brooke, I'm talking about in Ryan's head, not
this
in
is the inner monologue again.
Yeah, this is the inner monologue again. "This is going to make me look like a fucking hero," he says to himself with his shirt off in the mirror. "I'm going to make sure that my girlfriend can't make her rent. I have to listen to her. I'm going to try to support her the best I can, but I'm not going to give her any money because I want her to move in because it makes me look so much better with all these kids and my girlfriend living in this house with this dishwasher that I don't know how to use. Like, what was up with that too? He's been there for 6 years. They opened the dishwasher. There's still tags
that's
on
a
it.
fucking rental property. There's
Yeah,
no
it has to be,
way.
right?
And looking around the houses, that is not a 6-year aged house. The cabinets are
No.
pristine. The counters, the backsplash. Either you do not use the kitchen, sir, which is also probably a thing. He probably
Possibility, yeah.
eats takeout every night because he's a piece of shit. But there's nothing wrong with people that eat takeout every night, just Ryan in particular. Just want to make sure if our audience is eating takeout every night, you keep doing you. This is specifically about Ryan. That house, like, I feel like he rented that house for this season because no, if you've been somewhere for 6 years and you open the dishwasher and the packaging and stuff is still in there, it's not going to look that clean.
No.
Like, it is spotless in there. 6 years of aging, like, something's going to look old in that dishwasher. So no, first of all, it's embarrassing if you're a grown man and your dishwasher has not been used and you're like, I don't even know how to use it. That's not something to hang your hat on, pal. That's what makes dudes look bad because it makes it seem like we're incapable of doing chores around the house, which is a shitty fucking look. We're all grown-ups. Pull your own fucking weight, pal. Do the goddamn dishes. But that whole scene, the fact that her parents are sitting in there going, we like this guy. Good thing you found him. What is wrong with you? Get her out of there. Make her go back to Oklahoma with you because she can't afford anything. She's buying the wrong shit. She continues to get her hair and makeup done. She just got evicted and moved in with a guy that's involved in a massive international scam. Run for the hills. Don't pat her on the back, mom and dad.
I guess it's like, well, what can you say if she's in love with somebody? And then also, I know that she kept saying, well, Dad, thank you guys so much for helping me. But I'm like, they obviously are not giving you enough money because you have to move in with him. So I'm confused by this whole thing because the parents kept saying, well, you're our child and that's great and all. I think that if you have the means, you should still help your kids out no matter how old they are. But I'm like, they're obviously not helping enough because why does she have to move in with Ryan?
Maybe they're paying for her Range Rover. Maybe the Range Rover is more important.
She pulled up in a fucking Range Rover, dude. I was like, yo, you just got evicted.
So funny.
She had it last season.
Yep.
It's a lease. She doesn't own that thing. There's no way she owns that thing.
No
she can't pay her rent. She doesn't own a Range Rover, and that's a newer one. That thing looked nice.
It is. It's brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she got it before the season aired last year. Like, I need to pull up in something nice.
Yeah, you need a car. You need listen. You still need to look good. Just because she's evicted, you still have to look good. You can't let everything go.
Fine, but if I'm your father or your mother, I'm going, dude. Why are you still driving the Range Rover? Why are you wearing brand new clothes? I just forked over X amount of money and you got evicted. But I guess go ahead.
You don't know if her clothes are new just because she could have kept them up well. Because you have nice
Gina
clothes.
Fooled me again. Gina, I'm falling for all of Gina's shit.
And also, when just because you're having money problems, it doesn't mean that your clothes all of a sudden turn into tatters and that you look bad. I think that people have this like cartoonish impression of you're supposed to look bad because you don't have money. Like, no, you could still look great even if your pockets are kind of messed up. You don't have to look like what you're going through.
Yeah, I thought you were supposed to have like a dirt cloud following you around. Like,
well, I'm just going on experience. When I was broke, not super long ago, I looked like shit. So that's like in my head. I'm like, that's what you look like. I know what broke looks like.
You should be wearing a potato sack somewhere. Like, come on.
Yeah, honestly, that's in my head.
But I guess because remember, when you have money, I guess it's like for me, I know. I like to buy designer stuff, right? So if things should ever get hard, I'm still gonna have the designer pieces. So I would still look the part, and nobody else would know. So it's like for everybody else, if you have money and you bought stuff when you had money, just because you don't have the money anymore, you still have your stuff, so you're gonna still look the part, even if the right.
That's a great point.
Right?
Gina is doing laps in my head. Apparently, I'm. She said that later. I was like, yeah. Why are you wearing new clothes? Oh, right. You could have owned those before. Shit.
Before. She got you.
I've been Gina'd twice now. I'm embarrassed. Well, let's keep trucking. We're almost at the end, and we get to Shannon and Heather. And this conversation was interesting because, Shannon does try to apologize. I think that was more of a, if I say sorry, she's going to move on from this whole thing. I don't think Heather takes any accountability for her part in last year. Like she's still saying, I didn't say anything. I just said it's in the vault. Like I keep things close to the heart, whatever. I think no, she wasn't the one saying it, blatantly saying it.
She's
But
bringing attention to it.
she drew more attention to it than anybody,
Yeah.
arguably, because she kept hinting at things, being like, I can't talk about it. So I think for me, what I wanted to see from Heather there, and I know I'm treading lightly, because I know we have a Heather stand here. I don't want to get, but I think that she could have at least been like, look, I understand how it could have, like, the very least, how it could have been perceived that I was saying things. I wasn't trying to. She didn't take any accountability. She more leaned on, hey, I need you to be able to trust me as a friend that I'm not going to do that stuff. And my response would be, all right, well, actions speak louder than words. Don't stir the pot and don't put hints out there, and then we can move forward. Oh man, I'm waiting.
I want to hear what Brooke has to say.
So I get what you're saying, but I think with what happened last year, my whole point was, Shannon, how are you angry? Because the whole point is you're calling them up when you're drunk, crying about your issues. That's what Heather's point was. And I feel like Emily was the one who was spreading all this stuff around. Like she kept saying,
sure.
oh yeah, Shannon always calls up when she's drunk and she says that John isn't paying for this and she's paying for everything. And yes, Heather did throw a little shade in her confessionals. She did. See, I'm admitting Heather can be shady, but I just feel like I understand why Heather didn't, I guess, take ownership, because her point was, I am a great friend to you, but we do have to acknowledge that you have called up drunk, but I still haven't said anything, but you're not owning that part. I guess that's how I took it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think that's a good point too. I mean, if we're looking back to last year, Heather, we did get a little annoyed about the vault being brought up all the time. And obviously she was pointing some attention to it. But as far as spreading all of the information, it was mostly Emily, which makes it so much more interesting this year because Alexis is with John now. So when Emily's talking about John to Alexis, as we said before, she has a good perspective. She's known him for years, and she has all of those Shannon phone calls at night when she's really drunk and going off about John. So it puts her in a different position this year. Last year, it was mostly Emily that was talking about it, and obviously Tamra started talking about it too. But of course, Tamra's going to be talking about it. So Heather didn't really spread the information, but she didn't exactly be a good friend to Shannon. But I don't really know how you handle that situation. Like, how do you navigate that when your friend is calling you blackout drunk, talking about her marital issues, her boyfriend issues, her money issues, like whatever the hell she's going on and on about? Like, yeah, at some point you do want to call attention to it. So maybe that, in Heather's own weird way, that was Heather trying to draw attention to it so that people would talk about it, so we can get Shannon talking about it, so we can actually have a real conversation with her when she's not plastered drunk. And now that she's going through all of this, yes, Shannon is, and Steele and I pointed this out last year, Shannon seems like she's taking the necessary steps to clear the air for her behavior in the last couple of years, for her relationship, for all the things that she did when she was drunk. And we appreciate that. We love that she's going through this, and it seems super sincere. But there is an air of, okay, but I'm coming to you and I'm opening up right now and I'm apologizing for my part in it. I would also like an apology back. And it's like, okay, sometimes you don't need that. And that's okay, because people aren't ready to apologize, or people aren't ready to accept your apology. You got it with Gina, weirdly enough, not in her confessionals, but in person, you got it with Gina. So you can't expect everybody to follow suit with that. And if people are going to hold on to a little bit of it and let it go and just kind of see where you are in a couple of weeks, months, whatever, that's fine too. I think Shannon just needs to come to grips with that. But I still appreciate what Shannon's been doing.
No, and you make a really good point. Not everybody's going to be ready to move forward immediately, and it's not up to you to dictate whether they are ready or not.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, and I think that's why I called attention to that sorry that she gave. That one to me wasn't a genuine one. That was more like, oh, if I say sorry here, like we'll be able to move forward.
Right.
So yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think you two are leaning too far on the Heather side of things, but hey, that's just me. I think that she could have at least said, look, I could have been a little bit tighter lipped last year.
Yeah.
Like a little bit, just a little bit. That's my take. I don't want to piss off any Heather stands, two, but
remember though, Heather still feels a way about how they all treated her last season. So that's why I probably feel like I'm not apologizing to anybody, because y'all all came for me last year. So I get it. He's
She did. Yeah, she got dragged all season for like very, very mundane reasons. It was annoying. That was partly why we hated the season. It's like we keep going after Heather for what? Because she has more money than you guys? Like that's all this is. It reeks of jealousy because she sold her house. She doesn't have to tell you she sold her house for $50 million. Like it's none of your fucking business. Like what? So yeah, I agree with that. I'm still not jumping on the Heather bandwagon. I'm like right in the middle.
You're a bit of a Heather hater over there.
No.
What's going on?
No, I'm keeping perspective. I'm down the middle here. I don't hate Heather
it doesn't
at all.
seem like you're down the middle at all.
I'm simply saying that she could have taken her part in it a little. That's all. I think Heather's great. I thought that in the beginning of last season, I wasn't a big Heather guy. By the end of the season, I was like, oh, I like Heather a lot. She is a like premier housewife. That's what a housewife should be, is Heather Dubrow. So I give her flowers. I'm just saying in this scene specifically, my God, let's get to the end of this. We get Gina, we get Gina and Jenn. But before we get to this scene, I want to set it up just with what Gina said. If she comes for my career, I will end her or something along those lines. She's not. At no point.
Ooh, big
threat. Like that was what like our people at home supposed to be like, oh shit, Jen's got it in for her now. It's like that didn't land at all. She's not coming after your career. She's honestly, you could say she's self-centered and doesn't see how this could affect you negatively, sure. Yeah. But she's not actively trying to drag your career here. She just pointed out a very good point in, hey, if you're a real estate agent and you're talking about my finances with people willy-nilly, that's not a good thing. Like I would fire my realtor if I heard that was going on. So that her pointing that out's not coming after your career. That's her playing defense a little bit because she heard you're talking shit. So that's how it leads into this scene. And we get Gina and Jenn. And I mean, Gina had her mind made up before Jenn walked through the door. She was ready to tear her apart. And she's like, well, if you're not even going to listen to me, if you're not going to listen to me, it's like, you're coming after her. She's trying to defend herself and you're not giving her the chance to. And you're saying a lot of the fact that she went straight for get your shit together, take care of yourself, take care of your kids. That was the lead off. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, she didn't even allow Jenn to like ease into it. And maybe Jenn would get to a point where she says, hey, I'm sorry for putting you in this position. And then you're going to get mad that she didn't do that. You can give her a chance to do it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I feel like this is Gina's MO every time she argues. Because when you go back to prior seasons, she always does this. It's in her playbook. She never lets the other person talk. She just starts screaming and yelling, and then she leaves. I think that Gina, she does not know how to argue or debate. Her only thing is to start screaming like an idiot and then walking away. And then she acts like she's the victim in this whole situation. Gina looked unhinged and absolutely crazy. She looked stupid in that outfit. Let's talk about that hat. The outfit was a mess already. Already. Like the outfit was a chop. So I just said, you already are sitting here with this stupid outfit on, and then you have the nerve to talk to this woman like this, like she's nothing in a crowded coffee shop.
She was screaming in the coffee shop.
I love how crowded that coffee shop was, because then I'm looking around in the back.
Nobody was looking.
All these people know that they're on camera, though. No, there was one person in the background that had a straight smile the entire time. I'm like,
I didn't see that.
Like, are you trying to like audition for a bit of an extra part on one of these shows or something? Maybe you could just smile back here. Hey, yeah, all right.
A little wave. I didn't see that. I was looking at everybody too. I didn't see the smiler because everyone else was looking at their plate. I was like, how? If I'm ever in a restaurant and Housewives are going off, I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be staring. They're all like trying not to draw attention. Like, no, just keep eating your croissant. Just keep eating your croissant. Don't look at it. Don't look at the camera. But the whole scene to me was bizarre. I couldn't. The escalation came so fast and so heavy that it sounded personal, and not because of Jenn. It sounded like and this is, you pointed it out at the beginning of the episode, Brooke. It's like all this shit that she's harbored over the years, everything that she's put up with, everything that she's heard about her not having the money and being insecure when she's in a situation that she can't pay for anything. That is exactly what it is. She is taking out all of that animosity, all the built up shit, and throwing it at Jenn. And you can watch Jenn's body language and just her demeanor. She is flabbergasted. She's like, what the fuck did I walk into? Why are you so mad at me? I got evicted. Like, I get that your reputation is tarnished, which still doesn't make sense, but I don't have a home. My kids are homeless, and you're focused on the fact that I might damage your career. Like, it made no sense. The level that it got to so fast, to the point that she's walking outside. Nobody's out there except the camera, and she's yelling. She's like, "This broke bitch," like this. And I was like, damn, what the fuck? Like, you're not, because you now make some money, that you can now call her broke?
She makes
Probably
50 cents
commission
now.
based. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
commission based, and she's not performing, not because of Jenn, but because she's probably not good at her job.
She lost 50 grand because of Jenn. 50K.
Sure, yeah.
That's so funny that she threw that number out there too. I was like, how big was that house to get a $50,000 commission? I don't know how commissions work, but that seems like a pretty penny.
Well, if you watch Selling OC or Selling Sunset or Buying Beverly Hills, you would know that a $50,000 commission, it's not that big, because they're making $300,000. They're selling $30 million homes, and they're seeing a $1.5 million commission. So she looks so tacky throwing that out there. I said, okay, girl, you're really not used to money, because the way you keep saying 50 grand, like it's 50 million, that shows me right there that you're so used to being so broke that you think that we're also impressed by 50 grand. In the coffee shop, I have to ask you, did you notice? No, I'm sorry, I cannot stand Gina, so I always get really heated when we
don't
talk.
say.
Yeah.
But when Gina started screaming at the top of her lungs about her being evicted and being broke, she wanted everybody in that coffee shop to hear her. I said, this is so evil of you to put this woman's business on Front Street like that at the top of your lungs. You would be crying if somebody calls you broke in the middle of a coffee shop or anywhere. Kelly Dodd used to get on her all the time when Kelly was on there, even though Kelly was crazy. But Kelly used to always pick at her for being broke, and she was always crying about it. But Kelly never got her like this in public. It was always like if they had like a one-on-one at somebody's home. But for you to go out of your way to embarrass this woman and talk about how broke she is at a coffee shop. And then on top of that, I thought it was so rude for her to order a coffee and croissant and not order Jenn one. I just said, all the free meals that you've gotten from everybody with your broke self, and you can't get her a coffee and croissant? You make so much money now, sis. I'm sure an extra $8 is not going to hurt you.
It is. She just lost 50K because of Jenn.
Yeah.
She can't afford it. She can buy one croissant. And the other part of that is her saying, if you're not going to let me talk, I'm out of here. If you listen to what Jenn's saying, she's saying, that's horrible. Oh my God, I can't believe you would say that to me. She's saying, like, wow, you're being so mean right now. She's not saying, like, she doesn't start to defend herself until like shortly after. But while she's just responding to the horrible things being said, Gina's like, if you're not going to let me talk, I'm like, I mean, you're ruining this woman in front of 75 people, and she's just saying, wow, that's really fucking mean, and you're getting mad that she's interrupting you. It's like, you're lucky she doesn't pick up your croissant and throw it at you. Like,
yeah.
And by the way, you left the croissant. Like, she just leaves it on the table, so she must be rolling in it if she's just leaving food now, because you know that croissant was probably $15 fucking, and there was another $12 latte. So yeah, maybe that was her way to show, I don't even need my food anymore. That's how rich I am. I'm getting the fuck out of here. But all in all, it was a solid second episode. It's a solid start to the season. I'm excited, and I never thought I would say that about OC, because we didn't like it last year. And a lot of people didn't like that we didn't like it, but they also liked listening to us not like it. So it all worked out, I guess. But we got some questions. We're going to answer a few of them from the audience. And this is a great one to start with, because I'm confused by it too. And this is from Be More Bay. Why does everyone give Tamra such a pass on her behavior? What is it about Tamra that, like, on the show, I guess? Why does she always
I guess the other castmates.
Yeah, like, she's never on the full outs, it seems like, at least.
I would say they don't feel like putting up with her shit, because they know that if they go after her, she's going to try to come back tenfold. And it's better to just kind of like let her do her Tamra thing and just kind of ignore her and just let her keep going, because it's not worth the hassle. That's really the only thing that I can come up with, because we talked about it last year too.
I think Brooke, it's that they're scared of her. And then I also think that they want her validation. Like, I guess she gives them like head cheerleader vibes, and they want to be friends with the cool girl. So I think that because the way Emily is like so excited to be friends with Tamra, even though Tamra came for her appearance when she first joined the show and called her Shrek. Remember that? And like she's trying to like be friends with Tamra. There's definitely some like validation issues where they view Tamra as the cool girl.
That's stupid. That's my response. Stupid.
That is stupid.
Oh, this is for you, Brooke. From Katie Bean. Why do people hate Gina? She's not bad at all.
Katie Bean, I'm so sorry to tell you, Gina is the worst. She brings absolutely nothing. She does not know how to dress. She has no iconic reads, no iconic moments. She has no money. She's tacky. She doesn't even know how to argue with people correctly. I just think that Gina is a loser. I'm sorry. She brings the show and she's just coasting, and she needs to thank Shannon for the DUI, because if Shannon did not get that DUI, her and Emily would be off this show because they have no storyline.
True.
I'm so sorry, Katie.
I'm sorry, Katie. Like, love you, Katie, but I cannot stand Gina.
Okay, let's keep going with this. I like this. From Jazz and A. Who's winning the broke off, Jenn or Gina?
How do you win a broke off?
Gina.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to define that first.
Gina seems to have been broke for longer, so maybe we'll give her that crown.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
And
Broke
Gina
queen.
still can't press.
All right, let's keep going. We'll do two more. Oh, this is good. It's a lot about Gina. From Lem Vibes. Rate Gina's fashions on a scale of Giselle to Kiki.
Oh, it's worse than Giselle.
Oh,
it's way worse than Giselle. Yeah.
Damn.
I would agree with that.
That the shot's fired.
Yeah.
If she hears this, she's gonna sob. What I can appreciate about Giselle's fashion is that she's been getting shit for years about it and continues to do it. So at least that she's like, fuck it. Like I appreciate that part of it. But yeah, Gina's having a rough go. All right, let's do one more. It's a lot of Team Jen or Team Gina, Team Jen, Team Gina. Okay, from Fawn Anderson. Why is Jen so oblivious to why Gina is upset? She makes all of us Okies look like morons.
Take it away.
Okies?
Okie's the term for Oklahomoans.
Okay.
My dad's an Okie.
I didn't
He's
know
from
that was a
Oklahoma.
thing.
Yeah,
I
Okie's a
did
thing.
not know that was a thing. Look,
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
let me rephrase it. Do you think that Jen should have more awareness to the situation than she does? And is she handling it poorly? Or is she going through an eviction with children and isn't looking at the bigger picture?
Yeah, I think that's a huge piece of it. And look, we don't know if she even was given the chance to talk to Gina about it, because again, if you're going to have an adult conversation, maybe Jen is fully oblivious. We pointed that out already. I think she is pretty oblivious to the things going on for the reason that you just brought up there. She's going through a lot. She's not thinking about Gina. Fine. Okay. Gina should understand that at some level, but we're not getting to the point. And I don't think that Jen would do herself any favors if we did actually have that conversation, because I think that she is kind of stupid and she is a little oblivious. So yeah, if we did have a real adult conversation, I think by the end of it, we'd be like, all right, yeah, Jen just really does not get it at all. But right now, because of the way that Gina acted, we're not focusing on that. So yes, I do think that she wouldn't be able to handle it, but Gina is overreacting well beyond, and trying to do way too much. And it's so annoying.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, huh?
No, I agree with you. I'm not a Gina stan.
No, I know, yeah.
But that about does it. Brooke, do you have anything that you would like to plug before we say goodbye?
Definitely check out my YouTube channel, The Brooke Ashley. My podcast is the same name, The Brooke Ashley. And you can also catch me on Instagram, The Brooke Ashley _, and I'm on Twitter at The Brooke Ash. And yeah, I just, run my mouth and I talk about these housewives and I do fun collabs. And thank you for having me on your show. Like, I had the best time.
Of course, we always have a great time.
Yeah, and all of you out there, go give her a subscribe, a follow. Brooke is one of the best to do it. We love having her on. Your takes are always, even when they don't align with ours, they're so good, and your reads are always the best. So everybody that listens to us, go listen to Brooke, and we will definitely do this again.
Yes.
I don't know if we have any plugs. I forget all the time.
No, we don't have any plugs right now, I think.
Yeah,
We're
I don't know,
okay.
plugs. Yeah, we're fine. Anyway, Bra Bros are out of here.